Economic Community of West African States has condemned the attempted military takeover in the Republic of Benin. Military personnel in Benin on Sunday announced that they had ousted President Patrice Talon, although his entourage said he was safe and the army was regaining control. Reacting in a statement it released in Abuja today, the West African bloc said it received the report of the attempted coup with dismay, calling for full respect of the Constitution of Benin. The regional bloc also saluted the efforts of the government and the Republican Army in bringing the situation under control. ECOWAS says that it will support the government and the people in all forms necessary to defend the Constitution and the territorial integrity of Benin. All right, at this point, Global Affairs Analyst Dr. Adebayo Oluwake joins me live now on the news to give us a more panoramic view of the situation. Dr. Oluwake, many thanks for, of course, talking to us tonight. But let me say that a timeline of the coups in Africa shows that we've had almost about 10 coup attempts since 2021. The frequency has now become alarming. Another attempt in Benin Republic is clearly an indication that something is wrong. What, in your view, is the issue?
Well, actually, the news of the coup was rather unexpected. For the very reason you mentioned in the newscast, which is that President Talon is rounding up his tenure. He's in his second term, and he has just a few months to go. He's to hand over power in April next year after elections. So the news of a coup at this time was very unexpected, and there actually have been no grounds for such an announcement, at least from the point of view of how the transition into the next administration has been unfolding. There were some reports of the inability of the Benin army to cope with the insurgency which has ravaged the northern part of the country. You may recall that a couple of months back, there were these dogma-inspired groups which invaded the northern part of the country. It was a very dastardly act, and the Benin army was taken completely unawares. So to that extent, there could be an argument that the military has been having challenges, but they are not the only ones. Nigeria herself has been having challenges dealing with this insurgency. There has been a resurgence. And if you also just note across the sub-region, Niger, which is under military government, Burkina Faso and Mali, which are also under military governments, have themselves been struggling. In fact, as we speak, Bamako, the capital of Mali, has been besieged by these dogma-inspired insurgents. And the government of Mali is struggling to open up spaces for people in Bamako to be able to move to other parts of the country. So having a military government is not a guarantee that the insurgency is going to be eliminated. And this is why this coup in Benin has been all the more surprising.
All right. The actors, as we understand, in this coup attempt have been arrested, and ECOWAS, AU, all of them, the regional bodies have condemned, of course, the action. But beyond these peripheral condemnations, how do African leaders address the fundamental issues leading to these incessant coup attempts?
Well, I think the first thing, of course, would be to request that all democratic tenets be respected. Governments that are democratically elected should ensure they meet the yearnings of the population that elected them. This is on the one hand. On the other hand, there could be opportunistic coups, you know, and how do you prevent against an opportunistic coup? if there's an adventurer who wishes to seize power for the fun of it, if he's, if he's allowed all the resources and the latitude to launch such an enterprise, there's hardly anything you're going to be able to do other than for each country to ensure that there are proper checks and balances, the military forces are properly cantoned, weapons are properly stocked and warehoused and accounted for. Forces in barracks, their movements are also accounted for. All those basic security checks that you impose to make sure that those who have been given special skills in defending the territory of a state do not easily roam around and misuse those skills. But other than that, it's going to be really difficult to stop an opportunistic coup. Now, where there are economic challenges or political challenges or even military challenges, as in the case of insurgency, it will behoove whichever government is in power to carry all the stakeholders along in each of these countries for them to fully understand the effort that the administrations are making to deal with the insecurity, that confronts each country. But in the case of Benin, if you look closely, Benin hasn't had a coup in a very long time. Admittedly, between 1960, when it got independence, for the next 10, 15 years after that, there were incessant coups. Mm-hmm. But since the return to multi-party democracy in 1991, Benin hasn't had a coup.
All right.
Now, if you look at the gentleman who, okay, sorry.
No, just quickly, finish your point in a few seconds, please.
Okay, yes, I was going to say that if you look at the group that carried out this coup, a very small group, by the way, although from indications in photographs that we have seen, mm-hmm. The officers in the TV studio appear to be part of the special forces. So they are an elite part of the Benin army.
Absolutely.
But so far it didn't look like they had overwhelming support within the military. So you begin to wonder how such a small group of people could have overturned an army of almost 3.5 brigades.
All right.
Although when interrogations begin, there's a possibility more arrests are going to be made because the group was just too small to carry out this kind of coup,
Absolutely. Good points, made there, Dr. Adebayo Oluwake. And I think that's a pretty good place to leave the conversations. And hopefully, of course, as we have been told, normalcy has now been restored. Thank you very kindly, Doctor, for talking to us.